All of you wives.
With you all the time.
We men, we ask a lot.
Can't you see?
We ask for strength,
I long to be
food at home, a house cleaned,
with you all the time.
and discretion above all else.
Boys and their toys. At least we know they're getting work done.
Welcome to the Victory Project.
We're all here because we believe in the mission.
What are we doing?
Changing the world.
What are we doing?
Changing the world.
That's right.
What do you think they're really doing out there?
What do you mean? The one thing they ask of us is to stay here. Where it's safe.
Do you even know what the Victory Project actually is?
It's Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man. Coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu. Bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man. And this weekend, opening weekend, Sunday, I finally went in and saw the movie that opened up this weekend. The one that I was fairly excited about, having seen all the scenes and then hearing all of the drama that took place during the filming of this movie, that even after the movie over at the awards ceremony, Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine, Florence Pugh refusing to walk on the red carpet with the rest of the cast, let alone Olivia Wilde, refusing to do press for this movie, which is what the main stars of the movie usually do. And of course Harry Styles being an idiot over at said film International Film Festival. And that is the movie Don't Worry, Darling. Of course, directed by Olivia Wilde, her second directing debut. The first being that wonderful movie everyone says, Booksmart, which I never saw because it's essentially about teenage girls and being a older white male. I said, I'm not watching Booksmart. That's not, I'm not the demographic for that movie. Everyone says it was good. I'll never know. But I digress. For Don't Worry, Darling. Remember our rating scale. Shock a thumbs up. It's good to see. I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down. It's junk. I don't recommend it. And for Olivia Wilde's second directing, perhaps her last directing debut, starring Florence Pugh, Chris Pine, Harry Styles, Olivia Wilde herself, Gemma Chan, fabulous cast. It is overall a shock a thumbs down. Man, again, from the previews of this movie, the trailers that were taking place all the way many months ago, I was very excited. I was very much looking forward to a Valley of the Dolls, a Stepford Wives kind of vibe is what we get with this. Apparently set in the 50s, but it probably wasn't going to be the 50s. It's probably present day and they're doing something weird. Are these women robots? That become artificially intelligent and, aware of things and want to escape, a la kind of a Westworld kind of vibe, where they're just the playthings of rich white men. That is what it pretty much seemed like. Either that or they're hypnotized aliens, maybe, controlling these people. Into what idyllic, time of the 50s, what is seemed to be by many, or at least by white males, I guess, the epitome of American culture right there. And life, I guess, is 50s upper class upper middle class America, living in the suburbs, working a decent job, a great job, lots of money, cars, the home of your dreams, and the wife who's tending to everything at home while you're away at the office, and then come home and boom, sex, food, a clean house. What more could a man ask for? An idyllic setting for many. Many of the Magna Party, in fact. I'm sure Trump himself would strongly approve of the life set in this movie. No matter, just like Trump, how fictional it is. Oh, I'm sorry, am I getting political? I guess, also in interviews, it's no surprise that this is kind of a political steeped, commentary movie. Olivia Wilde said it was based on some guy I'd never heard of who kind of spouses this. But I mean, you could look at many people in a particular GOP party right now in America and see that this is the kind of America that they would like to return to. And all at the star of it is Florence Pugh, the up-and-coming, actress of this decade. If you would have told me that the girl from Midsommar was going to be the hot new actress of this decade, I would have said, what? I mean, it's like she looked pretty homely in Midsommar. But my goodness, Florence Pugh, as an actress, as we've seen on the cover of multiple magazines, really is kind of a shapeshifter as far as her looks go. If you've watched her YouTube channel, Cooking with Flo, honestly, she's average. She could be, you could say it's like, oh, she's average, but glam, glamour up, and she's like a super hottie. So, Harry Styles really lucked out, but not as much as I think Shia LaBeouf. Remember how Shia LaBeouf, in interviews with Olivia Wilde, she said that she fired Shia LaBeouf to protect Florence Pugh from his craziness on set. And then Shia LaBeouf had video of Florence Pugh begging him to come back after he quit the film. Well, he dodged the bullet, let me just say that, with this movie. Because it's really thin. The character that Shia LaBeouf was going to play was played instead by Harry Styles. I guess he's a singer. I don't know. Don't listen to his music. But his character is extremely thin. Written thin. I don't know if that's a depiction of his acting ability, Harry Styles, or if the character was really just written as thin as a white piece of paper. There's not much depth to him, and I don't know what Shia LaBeouf could have brought to this role more. And maybe that's why Shia LaBeouf quit this, because he saw it's like, well, this is Florence Pugh carries this movie and does an extremely great job with the limited amount of detail and writing that is in this movie for her. She does her best, and she does a great job. However, again, there's not much on the page here for her to really emote, but she gives it her all, and if anything helps or tries to save this movie, it is Florence Pugh. Because she is front and center through most of all of this movie, pretty much. And this is her movie. And I could see why Shia LaBeouf, it's like, hey, there's not, the part that's written for me isn't really anything for me to sink my teeth into. And he's all about sinking his teeth into stuff, acting wise. You could say a lot about his personal life, but he is a good actor. And, but he only takes roles that he thinks are meaty enough to where he can exercise his stuff. And I'm sure if he had gotten Florence Pugh's role in this, he wouldn't have quit, because she has all the meat and everybody else has just bones. Even Chris Pine, who is good in this, you know, still is in it very limited. And as maybe the main bad guy of this whole movie, you know, and you can kind of look at the trailers and say, yeah, okay, he's going to be the antagonist of this film. Florence Pugh is, you know, obviously the protagonist, struggling against this system of classism, genderism, I guess, you know, which 50s America was very, very much like. You know, women back then were, yeah, they could vote, but they still had, you know, pretty much second-class citizenship as far as that. And it's depicted in this film, pretty much they're just the playthings of men. The perfect housewives, sex, toys, objects, etc. to possess. You know, in a world shaped by Chris Pine. You've seen the trailers of some kind of company that Chris Pine seems to be running, be it for the government, be it for a private corporation, that all of these, the husbands of these wives are working for. Maybe some kind of secret super city. They can't talk about it. You know, there are tremors, earthquakes, loud noises. You know, they live in a private community out in the desert, isolated from everything else in society. It's its own little microcosm, perfect little world. You'd almost think that, oh, maybe they are on a spaceship. Maybe this is, you know, maybe they're picked up by aliens and this is the altered reality that they're living in, and they're really just asleep or captive on the spaceship. No. I'm going to go into spoilers right now, so again, remember, it is a shock, a thumbs down. Again, very weak, a weak story that could have been very, very intriguing. Stuff that we'd seen already before in essentially, primarily, The Handmaid's Tale, intertwined with a little bit of alternate reality, Matrix kind of quasi stuff, Ex Machina, and probably Westworld would be the best examples, where you know these are objects, women are objectified, or these women-like beings are objectified by male counterparts, their husbands, who aren't really, as it turns out, their husbands, which, you know, makes it more synonymous with Ex Machina / Westworld. So basically what is taking place in this is that, again, like very much, essentially this is The Handmaid's Tale. In that these women who are the housewives of these men have mostly been kidnapped, are being abused, held against their will, and placed in a virtual reality where they are the playthings of the men that kidnapped them and abducted them, essentially, holding them hostage. And the only reason they don't resist is because they're living out this perfect life, the perfect life for the men, and the men's idea of a perfect life for these women, their wives and housewives, how they'd like them to be. So as the trailer shows and states, it's all about control. And this virtual reality is built by Chris Pine, apparently, although very little details are put into it. And essentially these women are held against their will by their captors, their would-be husbands in this virtual reality, the men who abducted them, all for their pleasure. as they exist in this virtual reality. Why Chris Pine couldn't just program, the perfect women in there, computer AIs. If you have virtual reality on the scope and the level of this, then why not be able to have an interactive AI where you wouldn't have to be committing crimes against women like this, abduction, abuse, kidnapping, etc. Basically, just removing them from their lives and making them the playthings of, the people in the control of this virtual reality. It's, again, very much like The Handmaid's Tale. You think it's in the past, but it's actual present day, possibly the near far future, due to this technology, restricting people, etc. We've seen it all before. And if you watch this movie, you're seeing it all again. And fortunately, Florence Pugh, after most of the movie, begins to realize there's something wrong and break free of this control, this mind control in the virtual reality. And she is able to escape. But continuing the spoilers here, does she really escape? We don't know. I don't think so. I think she gets free of the virtual reality, but we see her, she's still chained and shackled to this bed, by her abuser, her would-be husband, Harry Styles. Now, he may be dead. Okay, let me just say, he dies in the movie. But she's still chained to this bed inside this locked apartment. She's been there for who knows how long, but she's not looking very good in the real world. And apparently nobody's been looking for her, or even might know where she is, as this may not even be the same apartment where she was living before being abducted. So essentially Florence Pugh escapes, and you think, yeah, she escapes. She's going to bring Chris Pine and this corporation down, right? But she's still chained to the bed. Nobody knows where she is. So she's going to die of starvation and dehydration in the bed next to, in this building, wherever she is. Nobody's coming. Nobody knows where to look for her. And so thus the corporation can continue doing what it does, abducting these women, a la The Handmaid's Tale, and continuing this false reality for, those willing to pay for it. And basically suppress, whoever they want to, whoever they can abduct. So yeah, happy ending. I don't know if there was some stuff cut out of this movie, but woo, it's like, and some people were talking at the end of this movie, like, oh, well, yeah, she's going to bring down this corporation now. It's like, no, she's dead. She's dead. She's going to die chained to that bed. Nobody's around. Nobody's going to come for her. And she's stuck there. And that's it. Oh, my God. So, again, a shock and thumbs down. I've seen other movies do this far, far better. And for all the promise and the beautiful scenery, that the production value that seems to have gone into this movie. It's said that Olivia Wilde did this on the cheap during the COVID. So, an isolated area, very, very, maybe 4 sets total, and then just open real life desert. So, Probably, I think in California somewhere, on the outskirts of California. So, I mean, overall, production value was very cheap for this movie. And it's only going to be about 19, maybe if it's lucky, 20 million for this opening box office. But I still, that's still not going to be enough to cover the cost of this film. Especially with all the controversy, whereas this was hoping to be a award contender. Between all the bad press from this movie, from Florence Pugh, from Shia LaBeouf, other bad reviews like my own, I don't think this movie is going to recoup its losses and puts Olivia Wilde in the hot seat, not only as a director, but as we've seen, having problems with Shia LaBeouf, with Florence Pugh, with, her marriage and divorce, got caught up to this and having an affair possibly with Harry Styles while shooting this film. Kind of puts her on the outskirts of people wanting to work with her at least anytime soon in the near future. So, what could have been a promising second directorial debut has turned very sour very fast with Don't Worry, Darling. And again, story-wise, it didn't do anything for me, as you could just stay home and watch the Handmaid's Tale and get the same, if not more, value for your buck than going to see this movie in the theaters. Again, shock a thumbs down for Don't Worry, Darling. Just wait to see it on video, on streaming, or wait for it on Netflix or somewhere where you'll enjoy it more. All right. Mahalo and aloha.